Bring Tom into the mix and look what happens. I can't remember to turn off the. I know they call them.
I know this is Foreign Friday.
It is a Foreign Friday, but it's foreign that you're on the show with Terry and I, and it's Friday, so it's foreign that Terry's on the show. So
that's right.
I'm expecting those picks from Newmarket from Terry, and of course Sunday at Chaten.
So, well, I mean, you got some of that stuff, and we'll put them over at horseracingtoday.net. If you're going to play the guineas, I've learned how to pronounce that correctly after 18 years, finally, I think. Did I get it right, Thomas?
You got it right.
All right. Well, we're here today to talk about a couple of other different things. First of all, we're going to talk about the Kentucky Oaks Kentucky Derby Double. And then tomorrow, what do they call it? The 20-cent Derby Pick Six, something like that?
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. That was Scary Creations creation. He wanted to do a $500 budget. So he's right up Terry's alley. Hopefully everybody's off to a fast start today at a sloppy Churchill Downs. That's what we got so far there, right? So we're going to, as far as the pick six is concerned, I'm going to bring up our picks for the Derby Oaks double. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Oaks today. And then we'll talk about our pick sixes. But what we're going to do is we're going to craft one as a team. Each person is going to make a pick. And then everyone gets a veto through the course of the 6 races. If I bring up a horse that Tom or Terry doesn't like, they can veto it. But I can override them with one lock in the 6 races. So you can lock one in no matter what the other 2 say. So they'll either hate you or love you when it's over, or more likely it won't matter because there's so many horses in these races that could win. It'll probably finish 3rd.
Or 4th.
Or 4th or 5th or something along those lines. All right, so let's get started with the Oaks Derby Double. Terry, there's your pick. So tell us a little bit about the horses you like. And then we can chime in, Thomas, as we go along if there's something we agree with or disagree with on.
Well, I like as my top pick, the 8, Tarifa. She won her last race at the fairgrounds, the Grade 2 Oaks, and has a high percentage winning trainer, Brad Cox, and Flavien Pratz Radner. She has a good workout on April 26th at Churchill Downs. Then I like 14, Leslie Rose.
You have a 14? I don't see the 14 in here.
I'm sorry. No. Yeah, you're right. You don't see the 14 there because I made a mistake, but that's all right. Oh, 13. Just
13.
FYI.
Just FYI.
Yeah. And then I like the 3, Where's My Ring? She came in from Santa Anita to win the Grade 3 Gazelle at Aqueduct, and she has the best speed among today's dirt speed among today's starters and a good workout at Churchill Downs. And then I like the 5, which is Torpedo Annie, I guess. Yeah. She won the last race at Oaklawn Park, and it was the grade 1 fantasy, and she has a good 5 furlong workout as well. And then I have a long shot, Jinjin, the 2, finished 3rd in her last race, Grade 3 Gazelle. She has shown that she can win at Churchill Downs and has won at today's distance. She's trained by Brad Cox and ridden by Groh. So that's the.
Well, Tom, you also have the 5 in your mix here. Let's bring up the wrong thing here. Let's bring up the 5 horse, Torpedo Anna. I don't have that one in my picks. Perhaps I'll live to regret that. But in the meantime, tell us why you like Torpedo Anna.
Just off its last race, as much as anything. I mean, it really looks strong in the fantasy at Oaklawn. Mm-hmm. I think this has been the target all along this race. So they only gave her 1 race. And, she's certainly capable of running top again. And I have a suspicion that she is going to stalk and jump on them at the end. And I don't think the track matters.
No, you don't think the off track matters? Well, I think in these races, quality is really good. We've seen that so far through the early part of today at Churchill. It doesn't seem to affect the quality horses. That's a little sloppy.
Yeah, Animatic was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. So aside from Torpedo Anna, Tom, you have a couple of others that you've whittled into your Oaks picks. What do you got?
I threw the 8 Tarfa in there off the Oaks run. It had to do a lot of work at Fairgrounds to win that Oaks. This is Godolphin. They have a few good horses. Mm-hmm. So you can't never ignore them in any race, in my opinion. And I did go with 13, just FYI, my final choice. And
I thought you were going to break some news right there with just FYI.
no, I don't think so. She ran. I think the thing that with the Ashland with her was the way she worked her way through horses, and I think she had to hesitate a little bit. And they put a bullet work into her for this race, and then she looks like the real thing still. Kind of hard to pass on her at this point. Sometimes these 2 to 3 year olds, they regress pretty quickly. So far, it doesn't look like she is.
Well, I got a couple of horses that, well, there's a few in here that match up, I guess, cross the way they do. I have except for one horse. So the 3 horse, Leslie Rose 14 is the one I'm, neither one of you have a 14 horse in there. So I got the 14 horse, Leslie Rose. I have 2 of my picks are different. No, Terry, you have the 3 horse too, though. Leslie Rose is coming off a pretty strong grade 1 win, and I think likely to add to her success. This is the 3rd start after a layoff, and what I like to see is got a strong maintenance workout between races. And in that last race that she won, it was a challenging trip. And besides the trip being challenging, she managed to still improve all of the race internals from the beginning to the end. So I think that horse had a little bit of a difficult trip, a little cleaner trip today. And I also like the fact that in these deeper fields, I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I sort of prefer the horses that are on the outside than the inside because there's less opportunity to them get in trouble. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's correct. And of course, Irad's riding this horse, so I like this horse quite a bit. I actually was between this horse and the 13, and finally decided on the 13. I left the 14 out. But when I play this today, I'm going to add the 14 to my double. So.
Well, I have speaking of the 13, I have that one in my mix as well. And that was the one Tom was talking about where I almost thought he was actually going to bring some information to the table. Just FYI, I think a good chance that this one is actually the best horse in the race. She was undefeated in 3 before losing to Leslie's Rose, that top pick last out, the grade 1 Ashland. More distance today should be, I think, useful for just FYI. If it can get a nice ground-saving trip, I think that might be the difference for her as well. And looking at just FYI, last time around in that race, it had the race wide all the way around the track, kind of split horses, as I mentioned, a little bit of a circuitous route. Cleaner trip is what I'm looking for today. Maybe not cleaner in the literal sense. I'm sure the horse is going to be slopped up, but I would think that you might see a straighter line to the finish circles.
Yeah, it'll depend on how much that the kickback is in some of these horses, because some of them may have never experienced that before.
I'm not having. I hear Tom and I hear Terry pretty well. So usually, ordinarily when you see, we'll have problems on our end before you'll have problems on your end. So I would imagine Race Masters, it might have something to do with. It might be. I don't know. Have you restarted your computer recently? If everybody else is having the same issues, can you kind of let us know in the comment section? We'd appreciate that. Finally, my last pick in here is the 3 horse, which is, got to get to the right screen. I got so many screens open right now. It's a little bit of a long shot here. Where's My Ring? And the reason Where's My Ring made my selections in here. If you see right here, I had something we talk about on our daily shows over and over and over again, but we also talk a little bit about horses being able to hit the par speed figure for this level. And it's a 101. And the only horse in the race that's actually gotten to that number was Where's My Ring. Now, I'm a little bit skeptical of it because you look at like the Wood Memorial and all those races at Aqueduct, their speed numbers seem to be a little bit elevated relative to the other races that they've had in their career. It's one of the reasons why I downgraded some of the Wood Memorial horses in the Derby, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But the one thing that lightened my concerns, if you look here at Santa Anita, did run a 96. So while it is elevated, it's not out of the realm of improvement. And I have found and looking back at that Santa Anita through my research, that when you look at the tracks that tend to carry from their prep races to Churchill, the number 1 track is Gulfstream Park. The number 2 track is Santa Anita. Now, notwithstanding, they don't run on the water over there very often. So that's the difference there. You can hear me, but not 100%. Maybe turn your volume up a little bit. Is it me you can't hear or all of us? Because sometimes this microphone goes out on my, let me just see what microphone is working for me. Hold on. Audio. Default microphone. All right, I think I have the wrong microphone on here. That could be the problem. Yeah, the microphone you're getting from me is from the computer. So can you hear me any better now? I hope so. That's probably the issue. I don't know why this one's not working at the moment. Somebody must have touched it or something because it's very sensitive. Can you guys hear me all right, Terry, Tom?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. So those are our Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks doubles. You can see who we have on the bottom of in the Derby picks. We're going to get to the Derby picks in a minute. In a little bit more than a minute as we make our way through the 20-cent Derby pick 6. But before we do that, timestamp where we are now, and then you can see our tickets. We had a pretty big budget, so we spent a lot of our money. Tom being the most frugal of the bunch. There they are. And if you look on the screen right now.
And of course, you don't have the right one. You have 8. I have 18.
For which one?
Oh,
here it's
the
1, 2, 5, 7.
18. Yeah.
8, 11, 12.
Yeah. No, it should be 5, 11, and 18.
5, 11. Well, I used you sent me 2 of them. So I took
on the Derby up on the daily doubles.
Oh, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
No, the one bottom is fine.
Let me just go back and change that then. All right. So what do we want up here?
Where the 8 is? Should be 18.
18. All right. There we go. 5, 11. Oh, yes. Because you and I agree on that horse. Stronghold. We're going to talk about that coming up. Yeah, I can't get everything right, guys. I mean, the picks are good enough for me.
I didn't expect you to.
So we're going to go ahead. So again, just right about now, the time on the screen is 12:55. I'll let it play out to 13 minutes. Timestamp that, folks. We'll timestamp it in the description down below. But now we're going to move on to race number 7 at Churchill Downs. That's going to start the Derby City Pick 6. It is the Churchill Distaff Turf Mile Stakes. I'm curious to see if they run on turf because I think there's more rain in the forecast overnight, right? If I remember correctly.
This is a graded race. They'll leave it on the turf. Otherwise, it potentially could be downgraded.
Yeah. Today they only took one race off the turf. The rest
it was not a turf race. Not a graded race. Right?
Wasn't graded. No.
Yeah, if they take it off the turf, then they have the risk of the committee downgrading it because they didn't run it on the surface.
All right. Well, we don't want to downgrade it.
And they don't want to lose that grade 2 status. They'd like to probably have it as a grade 1.
Probably. All right. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to get started. So, Terry, I'll give you the honors. Again, the way the rules work when we do a collaborative pick 6 or pick 4, everybody has one veto. So if I make a ridiculous pick, and I will at some point, either Terry or Tom can veto me. And then, of course, if I think my ridiculous pick is ridiculous to be vetoed, I can lock it in. And there ain't a damn thing either one of them can do about it. We each get one.
Stick our tongue out.
Yes. Yeah, we can do that. Or you can do like that, right? Like a little
rabbit ear.
So use your vetoes, use your locks wisely, gentlemen. We have a $500 budget. Terry, you're going to keep track of how much money we're spending because I'm a hot dog better. I'm going to do things on the cheap tomorrow. I learned early on growing up, minimum at risk for maximum reward. But funny enough, when you and I do our shows, it's always my next pick that loses. So maybe I should expand my budget a bit. All right, let's get cracking. Race number 7. Terry, who's your first selection?
Well, in race number 7, I like the number 6 horse.
Right.
This horse Yeah, she's finished in the money in all 4 of her career races, and she's won 3 of those. And she has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey.
So you're talking about Delahaye. That's the one you're talking about, right? Thomas?
I am.
What do you think? This horse here is just a neck away from being undefeated?
I have it on my ticket too.
Yeah,
you
it's
have
just
it on
a
your ticket.
neck away. Yeah.
Chad Brown looks pretty good.
Looks
She won
pretty good to you.
10 post last time out at Fairgrounds. That's not so easy to do.
And still managed to get to the front from out there and find its way into the winner's circle. That is a pretty difficult task. I have in this race the 7 horse. Do I have the 6 horse in my picks? What race is this? Race 7, right?
Last time I checked, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at. I actually don't have this.
You're in Chicago someplace.
Yeah, I have this in my 5th pick. So I'll leave it in there. It's not worthy vetoing because I do have it in my selections. All right, Tom. So for you, who's your selection?
Number 11, Copus. She's 4 for 8, run in the UK, mainly allowance races. But I want to note something. In the US form, it shows that the race that she won was a handicap. It was not a handicap. It was a listed race. And in that field was Tarawa and Potapalpov.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 great group winners. And of course, Tarawa won on Group 1. So those are pretty good horses. The other horses that she's faced that she lost to, Inspiral, Nashua, Via Sistina, Kiradare. You got a Breeders' Cup winner. You got one that just won in a big race in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Nashua is no slouch either. She can handle turns because she's been on the all-weather and done well. So I'm not worried about that. And yeah, she's moving up a little, but I don't think that this field is that.
But do you really feel like she's moving up that much, Tom? Because if I remember correctly, reading through the past performance, she does have that Group 1 win at Ascot.
No, she's not one. She does not have a Group 1 win.
She doesn't have a Group 1 win? I thought I saw that when I was going through the past.
She's only allowance and handicaps. And that, but it's really a listed race.
She does have the win at Ascot, though. It's still a pretty.
She has a win at Ascot, but that's a Class 2 race. So that's would be a notch below. Class 1s are going to be the graded ones or listed races. But yeah, I mean, it was a good race. I mean, let's face it, it's Royal Ascot.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, you want to win those kind of races.
Do you find it interesting that Chad Brown brings the horse in from overseas, and then if you look who's riding it?
Well, Dottore has been on this horse before, so I think that had some play in it.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I noticed right there. So it has that win at Ascot, and the one thing I think that you see from looking at the races, this one's going to be, you feel like Tom trucking at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be running downhill at the end for sure. And that's one of the reasons why it's actually my 2nd choice in my picks. So, and I think she's proven she can handle, like you mentioned, and run competitively with some of the top horses overseas. My top pick in here is the 7 horse, Evie's Jets. This one's coming off the first race since October. That's okay. The last 3 times this horse has come off the bench is just a neck away from winning all 3 of them. So one of those horses I feel like does exceptionally well with a little R&R. And I'm pretty certain she's fit because she has, I think, about 32 furlongs in workouts preparing for today. So either you guys going to lock that one in, knock it out. What are you guys feeling like?
Well, I like the 7. It's actually one of my alternates, so I'm fine.
Mr. Thomas?
I'm not going to say no to that one.
All right.
I think the 3 though has a chance, and that's why I put Chili Flag in there.
So 3, and you have the 3 horse too, right, Terry?
I do. It's my 3rd pick.
It's actually my 6th pick, Chili Flag. I don't know why. I know it's one of the favorites in the morning line. It must be something I saw in there that I didn't like. Let me take a look at of course, I always do I have our the way we go about doing things on our show, Mr. Terry, and Chili Flag ranked down here for me. If I look at our top total pace numbers in here, And this is one of the things I like to take a look at. Let's sort by L. And then let's look at our top total pace horse, largest to smallest. That Coppice is right. Well, it's not there. We got the 2-horse Walkathon, Delahaye, the one Terry started with. There's Evie's Jet. Not so close, not in the mix. Chili Flag down there, 5th or 6th. I'm not for it or against it. I don't think I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to play against it because I feel like that's probably going to be your favorite tomorrow. You guys want to pop that one in there or not, or do you want to put it off to the side?
Well, I like it quite a bit, so I'd like to put it in there.
Thomas, you agree?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I could use a veto right now and get 2 of you at once. Any other horses you want to put in here? Are we going to put any to the side, or is there a race in the sequence that you both agree only needs a few horses so that we can kind of build around it?
Yeah, I do want to put the 8 Heavenly Sunday in there. She's 1 for 1 at Churchill Downs, finished in the money in 5 out of 5 starts, win 2 of the races. She can either lead from to win a race or come up from off the pace. And she has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer.
The 8-horse,
Yeah.
Tarifa?
No, Heaven.
I'm in the Kentucky Oaks, so I had to.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah, if she's running in the Oaks, I want to know where.
Yeah, that's my fault. I just left the wrong one open. Heavenly Sunday, Thomas.
It's a little too old to run in the Oaks.
Mm-hmm. Well, probably would have a little bit of an edge advantage.
Plus, it's not a dirt horse.
So, what do you think about this one?
She's done okay.
Heavenly Sunday. You want to add it? Put it off to the side? What are you guys feeling?
well,
I know you want to add it, Terry, but what about you, Thomas?
I mean, it won it the last time out, but that was a move turf race.
Mm-hmm.
And so that always is leery. And I kind of, those numbers could be a little inflated, frankly.
Mm.
Her speed numbers are not wonderful.
Well, outside of that race off the turf, you're right about that. You look at these; they do look like they're a cut below everybody else's. I agree.
Put her off to the side. I'm okay with that for now.
All right, we'll put that one off to the side, and then we'll put the side horses over here. That was number 8, right? Sorry.
Yeah, number 8.
And then, is there any other, Terry, that you were thinking about?
Well, I like a long shot, AG Bullet. She won her last race, a grade 3 race at Santa Anita, has a high percentage winning trainer. This trainer wins 35% of the races when he takes a horse from a sprint to a route. She has a bullet workout on April 27th.
And she was scratched today from a sprint race to go run in this race.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, too.
Yeah.
So that's the 1 horse. And then in your feelings on the 1 horse, Thomas?
I don't like the inside post.
You don't like the inside post? All right. So another one that we're going to put off to the side. How about for you, Tom? Any other horses that you were thinking about in here?
No, those are my 3.
Those are your 3. So you got your 3.
And I agree on the 6. I threw Chili Flag in there. And then I think the winner will be the Invader.
So I kind of like a little bit of this walkathon, which is going to be a long shot. 2 horse in here. Well, I mean, 10 to 1, right? It's not the longest of the long in here. But when you look at walkathon, this horse has roughly a length more pace. I brought up the screen over here on the different data and statistics that I look at that I create on my own. And when you look at the late pace numbers for walkathon in a race that should favor horses that come from off the pace, particularly if the track is heavy. We've seen that, Tom, in our Foreign Fridays, the heavy track. You can get up to the front on slow fractions and people still run by you at the end. But this one's late pace is a 94.67, so just round it up to 95, and this one's 90. That's a 1 length difference. But if you take a look at where they're going to line up early on in the pace scenario, what you're looking at in that respect is the 2 horse. I mean, 895, that one's up there by itself, not so close. Everybody else is kind of in that mix. So I think walkathon probably going to be 2-3 lengths off of everybody coming around that turn, heading home. If it's heavy and everybody's legs up front are tiring and tiringly badly, I think Walkathon might be the one with the most late legs at the end to come home at a decent price. Anybody else even thinking about that one?
No,
No?
I wasn't, but
No, that was an emphatic no. How about you, Tom?
No, I have
Neither
no
one of you. All right. Well, no interest in that one. All right. So we got 4 up here. Is there a race in the sequence, guys, that you feel like is the I'm not gonna say the easiest, but where we need less horses so we can go back and fill in?
I think the 9th is, for me, there's only a couple of horses in there that I really like.
And you, Tom?
I singled in the 11th race.
So you singled in the 11th. And how about you, Terry? How many do you have in the 11th?
In the 11th, let me see here.
I think in the 11th, I can get away with 2. I feel like in the 11th race.
Yeah, 11th, I actually have 3 horses.
So let's move on to race number 11 then. And that way we can go and backfill then. So race number 11, that is the Old Foresters Bourbon Turf Classic. And of course, I mean, if we do get more rain, there could be some scratches, that sort of stuff along the line. But let's go ahead, Tom. Terry, well, you had a single in that one, Tom. So let's start with that.
Yeah.
11, Naval Power.
And why?
Lost last time out to Master of the Seas in the Maker's Mark Mile. That horse is definitely a miler and a very good one. Ran great races in Dubai and is running very well in Britain. 8 starts, 6 wins. Kind of hard to argue with that.
Very hard.
Corey, Appleby, Godolphin. Yeah, I really couldn't get past that one. I think there was some question. This was a horse was interesting when they started out with, because they didn't think much of the horse in the stable. And they started at a lower level than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just kept winning. I think it was a very useful race last time out. I think that's why they placed it in here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the 11 too. Terry, you have any? You going to veto the 11 or?
Oh no, I like the 11. Tell you the truth, as you know, when Appleby brings a horse to the United States, he wins 52% of the starts.
Yeah, and I think he wins stakes races at a higher level than that. So
he
spots his horses just about perfectly, I think.
So no, he was actually my 3rd pick, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, they have to compromise with getting Dettori rather than Buick or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now the greatest stakes he wins at 40%. I mean, and in the money 75. Who wins greatest stakes at 40%? I mean, that's just should be illegal, right? Once you get to 35, you shouldn't be allowed to run anymore. All right, Terry, you said it's your 3rd pick. That means you have 2 picks in front of it. Who was your top pick?
Well, I like Program Trading. He won his Grade 1 Hollywood Derby at Del Mar, and he can lead or come from off the pace to win a race. And he's trained by Brad Cox and ridden by Flavian Pratt. So,
well, I think Program Trading might well be undefeated if not for a wide trip. You see here in this race right here, wide through the turns and then still out finished. When you're wide through the turns, that really lengthens the race in there. And this horse is really, I think, prepping pretty nicely for today. You got a little bit of a maintenance work out here, but the ones before that is the horse was really gearing up to get in shape. Spot on, I feel like. So I think you're going to see an excellent effort today from Program Trading. And as you mentioned, Terry, the horse has a ton of versatility. You see here it won from a closing position. Here it won from a stalking position. And here it won wire to wire. So no matter how this race plays out, Program Trading can find itself in a winning spot. And that's always, I think, a good tool to have in bigger fields against competitive horses. Tom, anything for you that tells you that you want to veto this one?
No.
All right. All right. Well, I have one in here I want to add in, and maybe you guys can throw out your first veto. But I feel like if you like Program Trading, you have to also like Web Slinger at a little bit of a better price. Finished within a head and a neck of Program Trading 2 times. So I think if you like that one, you essentially get the same horse with Web Slinger as you did with the other one. And then additionally, I think this is one of those horses, again, when you look at the data, this one is going to be really sparking up the jets at the end of the race. If he's remotely close, and I think within a length or two coming out of that turn, I don't think there's any chance in hell they're going to hold that one off. Either of you got that one?
Yeah, I do. I have my fourth pick, so I like it.
Mr. Tom?
As I said, I'm on a single, so you guys can do what you want.
Well, you can use a veto and reduce the cost of the ticket. It's up to you, bro.
It's a good race. I'll wait on the veto. I think I've got other races where I'll use a veto.
Do you feel like we're deep enough here and we can move on?
Yeah.
Any other alternatives that you might want to throw off to the side for people to consider?
Six out there.
I mean, I have the 1 and 4 as possibilities.
Yeah, I have the 4 also as my long shot. So
6, 1, and 4. So we go from a single to now we're going to have 18 horses off to the right-hand side in our horses to look at. For me, if there's any others,
the right side are the ones that are going to hit.
That's the pick. That's the pick 6 you play, right? That's the that's definitely the one. I have the 6, I have the 4, I have the 1 too. So I feel like the 11, 5, 7 is pretty good representation. If any of them scratch, you might pull from this lot over here, or just play that pick 6 on the other side. I agree to you. So Terry, you said race 9 you felt was the easiest one for you?
Yeah, I do. I really like the 5 Legend of Time. He's won 4 out of 5 career races, trained by Charles Appleby, and that's who wins 31% of the turf races he has a horse in. And of course, I said he wins 52% of the races when he ships a horse in from Europe. And his horses win 48% of the races when they have won the prior race. He has a high percentage winning jockey who's doing really well. He's winning, I think, at a 19% clip this year, so he's doing very well. So I really like that horse. So,
well, Tom, you are our in-house resident foreign expert. So Newmarket here, that's a top course over in England. The one time that it did face great group company, it had its worst race rate, and they're finishing fifth, 3.5 lengths back of the winner in here. You like the Godolphin name? You like the Appleby name? Where did you pick this one?
I put it second. It just barely won at Haydock, which is not a top class, not that higher end track. Where then it went to Newmarket and it bombed. So then they put it over in Dubai and did just fine. But keep in mind, Appleby was on a tear in Dubai. He was winning like at a 40% number. So during the season there, so that's a pretty impressive number. I actually went with 3, Lenos. I think Steve Asmussen thought it would be a dirt horse. It's not bred to be a dirt horse. It's bred to be a turf horse. And they've started it out on the turf, then they put it on then a moved race, and then they put it back on the turf. And guess what? And it's done very well on the turf. And I think that's definitely one. You don't think of Steve Asmussen as being a turf trainer, but
a Derby winner trainer, right? He's the one that doesn't have one yet,
right? But he also knows he does have good horses. So
that
a lot of them. So I think this could be a real goodie.
Yeah, I have him at second too. I don't have the 3 horse in my picks at all. Terry, do you?
No, I don't.
Well, I hope Tom's right, because that'll be a big price thing. Because right now that one, the 3 horse, is 15-1 with Christian Torres. As you mentioned, Asmussen, solid trainer for sure. Making the 3rd start off a layoff. Last time out, the 3-race cycle kind of regressed from race to race to race. Yeah, following that same pattern. I hope that changes.
Toss those because they're dirt races. Look at it's 2 turf races.
You got 1 turf race down here,
and one at the top, and one that got moved.
So yeah, Christian Torres, a half a length from being undefeated on this horse on the turf for Steve Asmussen. Yes, so it looks like it is a turf horse that they thought might be one. Put in the looks like they wanted to get it on the Derby trail. It just wasn't that good of a horse. So you're right, Tom. Moved it off to to turf. And well, if he wins, we got him in there. I have a horse in here that. So this goes from I feel like a race. I felt like this one was kind of open when I was doing it, but I got the 14 Agate Road or Agate Road or however they're going to pronounce that. It's one of those horses that's trending in the right direction. I do think that cutting back in distance is going to be beneficial. It's also, I think, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, Irad riding that guy. And you know, these big days, Irad shows up. He's going to have like, what's the over under on how many wins Irad has on tomorrow?
What
do you
Royal, think? Royal Ascot?
Royal Ascot, we don't play the under. But here in the States, I'm going to put him at 4. Do you guys think he goes over or under 4 wins on Saturday?
I think he'll go under.
Terry's going to go under. And Thomas?
I'll go with the under.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm going to go with 4. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
All right. So I have them in there as my that was actually my top choice. And one of the reasons I like that is we talk about this on our shows too. And Craig Milkowski brought that up to us from Timeform US when we had him on the Player's Edge podcast. Now I can finally remember the name 3 days later. You see that early pace number increased. It's almost always an indication of a horse that's coming in to form. And the notes over here, that horse had to wait before it can make its move. A little cleaner trip from the outside today. And this is one of Irad's 4 wins, in my opinion. Any vetoes or leaving it in?
You're looking at dirt races versus turf races.
Mm-hmm.
And drawing the outside on an off track, I don't see that one.
You don't see that one at all? So are you vetoing me?
Yeah, I'm going to veto that one.
Ooh. Terry, are you going to let him veto me?
How can I stop it? You can use your lock if you want.
I don't know if I want to use my lock. I'd rather have that hanging over Tom's head when the 14 wins and go, we would have won $1 million if it weren't for you.
I think it's a turf horse for that, but that outside post, that's gonna have to be a heck of a ride to get that horse in position to be able to win.
Well, the one thing we know is if it's in position coming out of the turn, ain't no way Irad's going to let anybody. I'm not going to lock him in. I might come back and revisit it and put it in at the end. But right now, I am not going to put that, use my lock just yet because we're only halfway through the car. Are there any others that either one of you want to put in? Or are we on the 5 and 3 and we move on?
Go ahead.
Jerry.
I was just going to say I like the 6. Neat. He's won 4 out of the 6 career races, including the last 2 wins. So he's going for a hat trick. He has high percentage winning trainer Bob Atras, whose horses are winning at a 31% clip right now. And he has a good 4 furlong workout on April 27th.
I don't have the 6 anywhere to be found in my selections.
8, I have. Lord Bullingdon. This horse likes to find trouble, and he's done a very good job of it. But it also broke its maiden in a stakes race. It placed in a grade 3 race. It's generally more forwardly paced, and with the 8 hole, it'll have to be. And John Velasquez generally knows how to ride horses.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So are we adding any of these? Are we moving them off to the side? Because truth be told, I don't have the 6. I don't have the 8 in any of my picks. The next one up for me is the 10 horse in here, Set. Outside of that, as we go from I think, as I said, I felt like this is one of the more wide open races, and you can see there's a lot of disagreement amongst us. And I feel like where there's a lot of disagreement, there's a lot of opportunity. And this might be one of those races where we want to fill it in a little bit more later on, because I suspect if we see things in a completely different lens, so will most other horse players. And this might be a race where you get some big odds come home.
Yeah, it could be. That horse, the one you just talked about, is my first alternate. So
the 10 horse. I also have the 12 in my mix and a couple of others. So
I have the 12 too. So
Tom,
my third pick.
Nope.
You don't have that one either. All right. Well, oof. So do we leave it at the 5 and the 3, or do we?
Let's leave it.
Why don't we revisit it?
Yeah, we'll come back.
We're out with the other ones.
Well, let's go to race number 8 and then 10 and then save the Derby for last because I feel like that makes the most sense. And I've got a feeling that it's just going to become even crazier. If that was the race that was going to be the one that was the most logical, according to Terry, then we in a whole lot of trouble. So race number 8 is the Pat Day Mile. So we know they're going to do one turn after the famous jockey who I used to go watch, Tom, and I know you probably did too, on Friday afternoons at Arlington Park.
Yep. More than a few times.
Yes, unfortunately, the only thing you can do at Arlington Park now is watch. Did they tore it down already or not? I haven't been
already torn down. It's a vacant lot.
Paved with the broken hearts and thrown away tickets, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Broken down horse players is what was that guy's name? Larry Feldman, right? The guy who used to write the picks in the Sun Times. You remember that, Tom?
He's got a book. There's a book. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
And I know he had what it called broken down horse players. He used to call them.
Yeah,
right?
it was one of his club that he used to meet out there.
I've been following crypto codes in Churchill's races today. There will be 2 groups of numbers. All right. So Group A, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 9. Group B, 2, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And then my contention is Group A can only come in with Group B. However, not always the case. Pat Day Mile. All right, Thomas. Well, you guys have gotten to pick first. I haven't had a chance to pick first yet, so I'm going to pick first today in race number 8. I'm going to start off with the 11 horse Vallejo. I don't know. I'm probably screwing that up, but again, as we talk on our show, Terry and I, we do a daily show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And in doing so, one of the things that I point out is that what is going on here? In his book, there you go, the 11 horse. Andrew Beyer, who is the genesis, the creator of speed figures, says that anytime a horse runs a speed figure of 3 points or more, you got to keep an eye on it. I think that's even more true when you're talking about top-notch horses. Well, this one was 6 points better than everybody else in his debut at Santa Anita. Again, I mentioned earlier on, Santa Anita form and Gulfstream form do translate the best over to Churchill Downs. Any typical second race improvement, again, something we talk about regularly on our daily show, is that the second race for a horse, you can see that speed figure increase on average from 15 to 13 points. That horse runs a 106 to a 114. Even if you discount it a little bit, let's put it in the middle at 108. That horse runs a 108 in race number 2. It's going to be well above the par speed figure in here, and I think an easy winner. Anybody disagree with that sentiment?
No, I like it. It's my 4th pick. So,
Mr. Tom?
No, I have this number 3, so kind of on the same wavelength.
All right, so if you're on 3, who's number 1 or 2?
Well, I'm going to go diving into a big long shot.
I like that.
Number 6, Canary. They claimed it for $100K, which I think they were trying to slip the horse through the race and failed miserably. They put blinkers on and the horse ran wide most of the race. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So blinkers are going to come off now. The woman who trains this horse really does magic with decent horses. And she does magic with horses that are not so good. And I really think this is one at a big price. They're aggressively placing it in a graded race. Could be a big surprise, and certainly at a big price.
Speaking of big surprises and perhaps a foreshadowing of what tomorrow might hold, Theo St. Denis in the race that just went off. Didn't win. First Mission did win, but the Japanese horse came in second and paid $17.68 to show. And it looked like that guy just jumped out to the lead, and they almost didn't catch him at the end. So maybe the Japanese horses are here this year to compete, Thomas. I know we'll talk about that with the Derby, but I know that the entire plan for that Japanese Derby horse was to get here, the one that ran through Maydane.
And I had that Japanese horse as a pick on my team. because they didn't bring it over just for a workout.
Well, I boxed it with the 3 for $2, and that exacta paid $108.68. So
I also have that exacta for $5.
Oh, 5. All right. Good for you.
You guys are living large. All right. Well, the big money spenders, Tom, hoping to get our pick 6 to pay a lot with his 3-horse. Terry, I got a pick. And then with the 6-horse, Tom has a pick. It's your turn.
I like the 12 Nash. He's finished in the money in all 6 of his career races. Won 2 of those. Has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. So
yeah, and this guy was also at one point in time a lot of people's favorite for the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Right. So not running in the Derby, but running in the Pat Day Mile, and I think probably the reason is if we go back up in here, the Pat Day Mile at Churchill Downs is a 1-mile track. I got a feeling that Nash is not a 2-turn horse, Tom. What do you think?
That's kind of what I'm assuming.
Hmm.
And based on, if you look at its breeding, it says nothing beyond a mile.
Yeah, I feel like that was the issue for that horse, because when you look at its past performances, the 2-turn races didn't perform, and then the 1-turn races it did. So that, I think that was the issue for that horse all across the board. So we got 3 there. I got the first pick. I agree, Nash. Tom, do you agree with Nash? I mean, the horse is 1 for 1.
I don't have Nash in there, so.
You don't have Nash? Well, you don't have any more vetoes, so.
I don't have any vetoes, but I don't have Nash.
So
again, outside post. At that mile race, you're going to have to do some good running.
When you look at it, down here in Brisnet, they do kind of give you, outside posts are not the best place to be.
Nope.
If a 1 means that the horse wins at the rate, and they account for odds and stuff like that. So it's not just some random number that they generate up in there. It accounts for what % they should win in. It is the weakest of the bunch, and it is a pretty big discount, but I don't feel like it's a deal killer if you're the best horse. And again, that depends on scratches and all that. You see the same kind of thing on the rail over here. In any case, I do feel like horses that perform well at Churchill Downs, and the horse has won there, tend to continue to perform well there. So I'm not opposed to leaving a 12 in there, Terry, since I'm the only one left to veto your horses. You don't have that one in there, Tom? You got any more long shots to think?
I've got 2.
All right. Which one of the 2 is your best one?
I took Beeline's undefeated, both 6 furlong races.
That's my long shot too.
Yeah, IRAD's up.
Not going to be one of his 4.
He's more of a, but his breeding is turf, so that'll be interesting.
I have the 2 as a long shot of my picks too. He's undefeated right now in only a couple of races, and you won't find out how good the horse is until he loses. I don't know if he wins this race, Tom. I think this is the quintessential Tom horse in here. But one of my favorite horses on the weekend actually is this 7 horse in here, Houday.
Hey, that's my second choice. Yeah, I like it.
So Houday is one of my favorite horses on the entire weekend. And the 7 horse, the reason he's one of my favorite horses on the entire weekend, and I don't have him as my top pick, but if you recall, he does get the prime power first score here from Brisnet, if we use the Brisnet sheets. But if you recall, when we had on our good friend Mike Smith, who's a great friend of the Horse Racing Today community, he mentioned how horses run at Churchill when they train is how they run at the races. Well, I don't think there's any horse during the prep for this weekend's races, if you look at these numbers right here, that's been training any better. He's been flying across the Churchill Downs track. He's got a race at the Churchill's Down track, and guess what? He won that one. That was right back in here. It was the highest level race. He's obviously stepping up in company here, but I feel like those training numbers, the Mike Smith ringing through in my head, I'm putting that one in there. Terry, you agree with me, so I don't have to use a lock.
No, because I like it a lot.
All right. Well, I think that's a lot of horses for this race. Any others that you guys were thinking about?
You could put for me on the side the number 8 horse, Top Connor. competed in the Grade 1 Bluegrass, which was won by Sierra Leone. He led with really fast fractions for over half the race at 1 1/8 miles. Now shortening up to a mile may improve his chances, and he has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey.
All right. And how about you, Tom? Any others that you think should be considered when people are crafting their pick six tickets?
No, you have two of my, well, all my horses in there. So I'm good.
Well, there was one other horse that I was thinking about, Frosty Indulgence. The horse started slow and still improved a ton in its second career start. I feel like this is a horse, if it's sitting on another move forward, could upset in the Pat Day Mile. Race number 10 is next as we work our way through. Well, before we do that, you can get free picks today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Of course, you can get all of our picks for the rest of the Oaks Day, and you can get tomorrow's picks as well. So make sure you head on over there. Been kind of chalky to start the day today over, not so much in the early races. I know the first two best bets we had, they won, which is nice to see. Another best bet coming up in the last race of the day as they clear out the stands at Churchill Downs today. But the next up for you and I and Terry is going to be race number 11, which we did race for number.
No,
race
race
number
10.
12. Yes.
Race 10.
Race 10?
Yeah, we haven't done race 10 yet.
I don't know what I'm doing yet here. All right, so I haven't done this before. This is the first time I've done this, folks, as you can tell. So race number 10 is the Churchill Down Stakes. In this race, they're going to run 7 furlongs, so shortening it up a little bit. And the 7 furlong race, if we take a look down here at the kind of horses that tend to do the best, you will see that the rail has not been the best place to be. You do get penalized on the outside here, Tom. The middle horses, post position wise, but up in here, this story, it tells you that you better be fast early on, as 40% of the horses go wire to wire. And at the first call, the average horse is less than a length from the leader. So that means a lot of them are pilots, a lot of them are co-pilots that get the job done in this particular spot. All right, Terry, I think it's your turn to go first again.
Okay, well, I like 11. Number 11, Hoist the Gold. Finished in the money in 4 out of 6 races at Churchill Downs, so likes the track. Won one of the races. His early speed style will help him at this shorter distance. He has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey.
I think that one's most likely to be the favorite too, after coming out of that Saudi Cup race for $20 million, where it didn't really fire, Tom, and probably because the surface over there is a little bit difficult to run on.
It's sandy. It's a little deeper, but then remember who won the race?
I don't remember.
Senor Buscador.
Yes, now I remember. But anyway, I know we did that one on Foreign Friday, or is that one of the weeks that we missed?
That was a week we missed.
I would have had it.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right, Tom, how about you?
I'm starting with number 3, Bo Cruz. They were running at 2-turn races before. They dropped it in the Commonwealth to 7 furlongs. It was grade 3, 1, drew away. Pretty easy. And good work. Got 47-4 breezing coming into the race. I really think he's the one to beat.
You know, I'm noticing something right now. I got the number 11 hat on. We have 11, 11, 11, 11. I feel like I just should put the 11 here just because no. If it goes 11 all the way down, that would be something interesting.
I actually like the 3 too. It's my third pick. So
yeah, I have the 3 in there, Bo Cruz too. Going to make the second start after a layoff, and I mentioned so many times that I like to rewind through a horse's past performances because I feel like a lot of horses run in patterns, and you do see when this horse made second career starts from here to here. It went improved in its speed figure from 81 to 91. Next time out, the horse went from 97 to 98. So the incremental improvement in that race, but still took a step forward. So the horse ran a 99. If it improves incrementally, you're looking at triple digits. If it follows this one up here, you're looking at 109. So if the horse follows that pattern, again, if is the biggest word in the English vocabulary, but that would definitely put it in contention to run a par speed figure. So I'm all about putting Bo Cruz in there too. Another one for me, guys, is the 4 horse, Mr. Wireless. Do either of you have that one?
yes, I do.
Nope.
You don't have the 4? Tom?
Nope.
I like it.
Well, you can't veto me, so too bad. Uh, Again, I feel like you got to listen to the pros, man. Andrew Beyer, and I come back to this like a broken record over and over and over again. But when I do my race notes at the end of the day and copy in what I was thinking to my Excel sheet so I can see patterns, I see ran top last race speed figure 3 points or more. This one ran 5 points better than anybody else last time. Has 4 solid workouts since that race. So I think Mr. Wireless is going to be more fit today. And then when you look at the internals last time out across the board, much improved. So the horse is not only the top last race speed figure, showed a ton of improvement, working to be more fit. The only regret I have about this one, guys, is that that they didn't let oh my God, I hate being old because I can't remember anything, but Deshaun Parker. I wish they would let Deshaun Parker ride this one so he can get that graded win because he's rode Mr. Wireless before. So Deshaun, we certainly hope that you get that call right there. Same group as they. All right. Any vetoing Mr. Wireless, Terry?
No, I like it. He's part of my picks, but I also like the 6 Zozos. He's not raced for more than 6 months, but he's been steadily working out to return to the races. He's won 2 out of 3 starts at Churchill Downs, and he has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey.
I know at one point he was a highly regarded horse. He is the morning line favorite right here, it looks like to me. Does have a couple of wins at Churchill Downs. Last ran at the Breeders' Cup. Let's see, has he had that sort of a break before?
Yes, he has a break. He has a break. He's won and on a couple first ups.
Yeah, I'm looking for one with an extended time frame though. Like a month off to me is
Not much.
different. Is much different than 5 months off.
Well, March to May is a little more.
Well, you got one here from May to December, so that kind of fits in there.
That would fit the mold, yeah.
And he came back. But that was an optional claiming $50,000 race.
Prep race.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% sure he was not in for a claim that day.
If he was, that would have been a great claim.
Yeah, a bunch of idiots missed that one if they didn't claim it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like if I was at the track. Wait, what?
Well,
So I'm a little worried about the time off because he's not going to run against optional claiming crowd here today. Again, here you had a Knicks Go stake, still, not a graded stakes race, another low level. And then when he did come back off the break to run against top-notch company, finished 4th by 3 3/4. I like him too, Terry. I don't have him at my top. I'm not going to veto him at all, but I do feel like we should move him to the side.
Okay.
And then you have any other thoughts, Tom, for this race?
I have 2 of them. I've got number 5. Hear me song. This horse misbehaved at the gate last time out and got off slow and not great. He has one at 7 furlongs. He's got it. And the trainer has a really remarkable record of getting horses ready to run over a period of time, a 36% strike rate.
That's pretty good.
And that's why I couldn't leave it off.
All right. Well,
and
you have a lock yet, Tom. So you haven't used it yet.
That one's not my lock. I have one more. I have number 9, 3 techniques or technique. Last July, won a 7 furlong race, grade 2 at Belmont. And they played around the horse too much, I think. And they put it in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and they put it in the Scar Mile, and now he's back to 7. And he's run this distance and done okay. He is good at first up. He doesn't win, but he's good, still good enough. But they put a bullet work into him. So I think they're serious. And I think they're at the right distance with this horse. That tricky distance of 7 furlongs. Yeah,
it is an oddball distance. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I have another one in here that's not made our picks too. That's the 10 horse. Gun Pilot is one that I'm considering. Have either of you looked at Gun Pilot?
No. Oh yeah, it's my long shot. Sorry. Yeah. Won 2 out of the last 3 races.
Yeah, I think just the way this race sets up, this one might have one of the best trips in the field. I think he's going to sit right behind the horses that are on the front. And then he's got some really strong late legs to run by them in the end. And last time out, one of those horses that did improve from the beginning to the end. And another indication of a horse coming into form is he ran about a second faster than he did in the prior start. I think this one is going to be fit and ready to go. I haven't used my lock yet either. This is a borderline one, but I'm going to probably come back to revisit another horse in race number 9 for my lock. Any other horses we should put off to the side, or any horses that we should add into this pick, or we move on?
No, I'm fine.
On we go.
Onward we go. All right. So let's move off to the KD. All right, Thomas, your first pick.
For the KV.
Kentucky Derby, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with 18, Strong Hold. He won the Santa Anita Derby. Had traffic issues. He's moving between horses. Guess what you got to do in the Kentucky Derby?
You got to wiggle.
And I like the outside post for this horse. 18's been okay. I think that'll help him. He does like to run a little close to the pace, but they're gonna, he's just got to get set up for that quarter horse run to the first turn, as Mike Smith refers to it as. I like the bullet work of 46-3 handily, so they were really asking for speed out of that horse. And again, I go back to that last race, being able to manipulate through traffic.
I like that horse too, Tom.
And I think we'll get a decent price.
I think you're going to get a nice price. I like that one too because, as I mentioned before, when I go through the picks and look back at which horse races are the most indicative of horses that are going to run well at Churchill Downs, Santa Anita stands out. But I also feel like we talked a little bit about Nash in that one-turn race. This one's proven it can handle 2 turns. I don't know that there's any 2 tighter turns at all than what you get at Los Alamitos, where that horse went on to win the Los Alamitos Derby. So I think that proves to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that going 2 turns is not going to be an issue at all for Stronghold. And then on top of that, this is a horse that has run well at Churchill. He won his debut, if I remember correctly, at Churchill, and he's training well at Churchill. So I know he can carry his form. So he carried his form to Santa Anita. He had his form at Los Alamitos, had his form at Sunland, and had a form at Churchill Downs. That's another form of versatility. So I have him in my picks too. So I'm going to go with that one with you. I agree with you, Terry, Thomas. And then Terry, you're going to veto that one?
No, I'm not going to veto it.
All right. And what are you going to add?
I'm going to add the 11, Forever Young. He's that Japanese horse that comes from Japan. He won the $1 million Group 2 UAE Derby by 2 lengths. He's got he's talented and he's battle tested. The distance is no problem for him, and he has more tactical speed than most of the other horses in this race.
Mm-hmm.
And he should give him the first. He should get a good run when the front runners tire, or if they do. And the jockey has ridden 31 winners out of 149 starts, which is almost 21% win clip this year.
Let me throw out a couple other facts. One, I like the Saudi race better than I like the UAE Derby personally.
Okay.
But this trainer brought over 2 horses before, only 2 horses, and it was 100% winning. Do you know what those horses were and what races?
I can't remember what I had for lunch on Wednesday, Tom. You're going to ask me what that means.
If I remember correctly, Terry was there. The
Yeah.
Breeders' Cup, Philly and Mare Turf.
Yeah.
Not only you. And the Breeders' Cup Distaff in the big upset, Marchand Lorraine.
I
Yeah.
remember that horse. I think we actually had that one in our preview.
Yeah, and so he's brought 2 horses over and he's won twice.
All right. Well,
Have you done any reading about this one?
Yeah.
And with one other little fact out there that's worth noting.
All right, one more.
If you look at that breeding, you go back one more generation that you don't see listed there. You have a stallion who is long gone now, but by the name of Sunday Silence. And you may remember he won the Kentucky Derby. He also won the Breeders' Cup.
And if
So,
you've done any reading about this, you know.
and in Japan, he has produced, like Deep Impact, who produced this one, really good horses.
And if you've done any reading following up on this horse, they basically bred and targeted this horse for this race. I'm going to throw another stat out at you that I read that should be an interesting one. This one does qualify for it, although I'm not the happiest with the number here. But the last 9 KD winners, right? So that's a pretty good, not the best handwriting, but the last 9 Kentucky Derby winners, their last workout, guess how long it was?
5 furlongs.
5 furlongs. Folks.
Yeah.
9 for 9.
That's right.
This horse definitely qualifies for that. So keep an eye out for that. I think you can't. I know we've picked some horses in here that have gone a little bit on the long side in terms of price. This one ain't going to be 10 to 1, folks. Forever Young, because the Japanese folks, they love their horse racing, and much like those My Racehorse horses that people own stakes in, this one's going to get all the Japanese money. I think you're probably looking at 6 to 1, probably the second or third favorite. Do either of you disagree?
No, I'm going to bet this horse. So no.
Well, you alone are going to knock the odds down, Terry?
Yes.
Probably.
Gun Pilot, Group B, for example. Yes, in the group numbers there. I've got some non-Arnold Parma homemade iced tea with organic sugar and squeezed lemon like Rich. No, that's I wish this was organic. It's probably the farthest thing from organic. It's a Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. I need my caffeine or I get horrible headaches. I don't think you can skip Fierceness, guys, at all. If that horse comes remotely close to running, it's 3 good races, and it's yet to put back-to-back good races in. And it only ran a 4 furlong workout last time out, so it doesn't qualify in that respect. I know a lot of people think the horse needs to be on the lead. I don't think it needs to be on the lead. I think it can stalk and do just fine, because when you look at the late pace numbers, that one's late pace numbers are by far the best. So it's not lead dependent. One of the 3 best races, he walks away with this race. One of the 2 bad races, you're going to wish you didn't bet on him. But I feel like he has to be in your pick 6.
Yeah, I do too. He's my third choice.
And the biggest here is, of course, like Stronghold. He's got to overcome that outside post, and
which really hasn't been an issue in the Derby.
There's a lot of inside speed, so he's going to get bounced out pretty wide.
I don't feel like he needs the speed, though, Tom, to be honest with you.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting, depending on the strategy they use, is really, you got Naval Power in there. That may not be a really good.
Yeah, I got the wrong race. I'm just an old man, Tom. Forgive me.
That may be throw the numbers off a little.
Yeah, but if I put the foreign horses in there, they're not even in the race. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. All right, so if we go just on late pace, so if we sort by late pace, which is file K, you're going to see the Fierceness. This one, these 2, they don't grade out because they don't have any in there. So, but look at this late pace numbers. 90 is 107.
Well, Forever Young is a late pace.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can't put that in there because we don't have a measurement from the Japanese horses.
That's the one's probably going to end up winning.
Forever Young or TO Password, right? But looking at
the Dennis horse was out of that same bunch.
Indeed. But if you look at this number here, it's 9 points clear of anybody else. It's going to be involved Fierceness. It just needs a clean trip. If it can get a clean path to the winner's circle, and I think being on the outside actually gets you a better trip because you're less likely to be boxed in or less likely to get bumped because there's a lot less horses around you. If they can get a clean trip, that 107 late pace, I know that the past performances, everybody's going to be looking at this and say, oh, that horse needs to lead the win. And maybe he does. I don't know, because he's only won once when he's not gotten the lead. But he's going to be close to the front. And his talent is really at the end of the race, not at the beginning of the race. And that's why I feel like you can't leave that one off at all. So, Terry, how much money have we spent so far?
Well, let me see. Go back to your what we've picked. Okay, I have one more horse to put in. 2, 6. Okay, we've spent. I
have $16.
Well, we got a long way to go. All right, because we have a $500 budget. So this is the Derby 500, like the. All right, so
I'm using the Delmar calculator to figure it.
Okay.
any other? It's for 20 cents. You're using Tom too, right? Not.
Yes,
not
20
10?
cents.
All right. So who else are we adding into the Derby? Or are we going to go back and fill
I've got 5 catalytic.
5 more horses?
No, 5. Number 5.
Oh, number 5. Right. Is this your lock?
No.
No. Oh, all right.
My third pick. He's only won a maiden. He's got a 3-race career. He was behind I consider that last race out of fierceness a freak race.
Mm-hmm.
He had some trouble. He had some trouble with traffic in that race, but it's like the Derby. He's going to have some trouble because we got a 5. So they're going to need to place this horse properly to have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it maybe the Florida Derby's really good at making horses hit the board, and you got to look at that closely.
Yeah, he is definitely the Florida Derby. I think the winners come out of that race 4 out of the last 6 years, including last year. Mage, right, came out of that race where it lost. And then, but if I remember correctly,
horses.
If I remember correctly, with Mage in the Florida Derby, it hit its gate coming out, and it went wide. So I'm wondering if that's the plan over here. Let's hit the gate in the Florida Derby, come out wide, and then go win the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to this one.
I'm also throwing that. I want to throw something in with a price,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you'll get something decent on this one.
Yeah, I think you're going to get probably 60 to 1 on that horse, unless people play the hit the gate angle. Terry, you want to veto that one, or you want to keep that one in there?
No, I like the 5, even one of my first alternates, but
All right.
I would like to put the 2 in there, though.
Sierra Leone, the other favorite.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any disagreement. I'm not going to veto that one. So what are we at now, Tom?
$360.
All right. So Sierra Leone, Terry, why?
Well, I like this horse because it won the Grade 1 Bluegrass at Kingland, where 23 of the past horses who have won that have come on to win the Derby. The colt's improving, loves today's distance, has a fantastic late kick, added blinkers 2 starts back, and ever since then has been beating pretty good horses like Just a Touch, Track Phantom, and Catching Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. All right. Well,
I'm not thrilled with I'm not thrilled with the Bluegrass. Anything coming out of there.
Nah, they haven't won in what 28 years.
It's been a while since anything really good has come out of there that's won.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. The 14. If I put the 14 in here, and we take out the 2, what's our total right now?
So we're 4 by
4 by 5 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 4.
By 3 by 3 by 4.
Mm-hmm.
We are at $432.
I think that's about as far as we can go. I'm going to lock the 14, and that's that. I have a veto left. Terry, you have a veto left, but you cannot veto out my lock. So is there any horse, either one that you want to veto out of there, Terry?
No, not really. No.
Neither. I don't mind putting the 2 off. If we put the 2 in, Tom, that puts us over the $500 budget, right?
2 where?
Down here.
To which race do you want to put the 2 in?
The final race.
Oh, you want to go to 5 horses?
If we put the 2 in there with the 3,
we're at $540.
Can't do that. So that's not doable. So it looks like we're about done, folks.
That's how we should do the other side, because that's the one that's going to win.
Yes. Well, that one's not going to cost that much because we got a single at the end. All right, folks. Well, that absolutely brings us to the close of our team pick 6. If you want to take a look at our pick 6s individually, you'll find them right here. I think I might have gone over budget on mine. Probably pretty much I did. I didn't have a chance to really figure it out.
I put 2 plays out there. One is $145, and the other one is $336.
Yeah, mine's a $480 pick 6. So.
Yeah, and I probably got to take a couple of mine out of here. So I don't know which race I want to take them out of. I probably got to go 2 somewhere along the line. to get mine to work, but I'll go back and refigure it. But for now, we'll just leave it at that. Here's our Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby doubles, folks. Make sure you do that. That about wraps it up for today. We hope that no matter what you're doing for the rest of this week, I know Terry and I will be back on Monday. We are going to do parks Monday, Tuesday. Not sure what Wednesday, Thursday will bring. Tom, any thoughts on what we might return to for Foreign Friday next Friday?
Well, we are going to go to probably Ascot.
Get prepped for the Royal Ascot, which is about a month away. I know. I look forward to that.
Chester is that before, and then Ascot is some of the prep stuff. But these will be lesser races this weekend. There's some good stuff there too. So
sounds good.
We could do that, or we could do we could really aggravate ourselves with the all weather.
All weather doesn't aggravate me because we did a lot of Churchill. I mean, Gulfstream Park, Terry and I. So I don't mind that at all.
Well, the English all weather seems to drive me crazy. So.
All right, Terry. Any final thoughts from you, my friend?
No, that's good for me. So I'm glad to see this.
All right. Well, we certainly hope that no matter what you're doing for the rest of this Derby day or all your picks tomorrow on Saturday, on Kentucky Derby Saturday, the first Saturday of May when they run for the Roses, we hope that they all end up, Terry, Tom, in the
winner's circle.
Winner's enclosure.
Yeah, well, that's for the two foreign horses.
And in case of Churchill Derby, you're going to end up in the infield.
So, well, I hope you end up in the infield. Until then, folks, have a wonderful weekend. We look forward to joining you next week and then along the rest of the Triple Crown Trail.